Apparently there's like some big debate about power and control being manifested only through indoctrinated methods, aka like ancient knowledge, and why the Library of Alexandria was destroyed, and like why the Vatican and Washington D.C. are like the same for their countries, and CERN's gonna open up portals and stuff. Like, people are really obsessed with like the brain, and is it the brain or is it the universe? Is it the universe discovering itself, or is it the God in all of us realizing the universe? Blah blah blah. Whole time y'all are like, what's the word? Penetrating people. And 90% of the time, it has to be you showing them something that they have if they have any context of. They won't know truly until they experience it. It's kind of like, there's a CAPRSON pouch. It has a straw with a hole designated, like almost basically circled and dotted where you're supposed to put the pouch straw in. And I feel like everybody feels entitled to putting their own straw in their CAPRSON. And that's fine. But it's not your CAPRSON. You can't CAPRSON yourself, bro. And then when you know that about the process of having a CAPRSON, you have to have your own. They try to empower, like it's an empowering thing to have done it yourself. And I'm comparing this to like a childlike determination. It's my CAPRSON, it's my pouch. And I think this is why people are obsessed with being like, God was a man or God was not a man, is because physical nature, measurable science, quantum physics, AI, the fourth dimension, tesseract squares. There's layers. Bitches are onions in their understanding. And they're trying to force an onion to have a core. The roots of the onion. You can cut all the onion off and just have the core, and you can reproduce that onion. So I feel like their concept of like, it's my CAPRSON pouch, is in this childlike state of my right, my right, my right. But in reality, did you know when you did it what you're getting yourself into? And was it truly empowering, or was it a coping mechanism to embrace what comes when you open up the other, quote unquote 90% of your brain? I still ask, like, how much brain damage do people that have anal sex in any capacity, especially when they were underdeveloped, have not gone through puberty yet, how much brain damage do you get? Because it's literally a nerve you're touching, female or male, that affects your brain. And we all know that. I'm pretty sure people that have anal sex on a regular basis are constantly covering up the bloodshot that comes from the pressure on their blood network. I won't say capillaries because it's more complex than that, but you constantly have to cover it up because it's doing something physically to you. That all that pressurization. I used to think as like a kid, I was like, you know, the craziest thing is like, we deflate like balloons when we breathe. Maybe not as like dramatic, But if you're not breathing, there's still pressure on the outside. Like your chest going down means that there's something, the gravity, magnetism, your own weight, honestly, density. That's what it is. I think that is insane, because you think you're just like, I'm open, there's nothing, you're not floating. You're literally being pressurized by existing in your body. That's why like blobfish look like that, right? So so going back to like, did you get empowerment, or were you a battery? And batteries don't know that they're batteries. They were originally lithium and ions, or what is it? Lithium and whatever else is in a battery. And then they just do their charge like their chemical setup is meant to do. And they just utilize that to create this energy that's concentrated, because energy is stored in the lithium, right? That's why you need to replace a battery. You can sometimes recharge batteries, but the whole point is the original energy is stored in the lithium. So using the concept of raw minerals to the complexity of the fourth dimension and the conduit that is the human body, because everybody has a digestive tract, and unless you have some type of surgical reasoning, you have the muscle, tendon, ligament, nervous, blood system set up for you to be able to pass poop. And as if you have a vagina, if you have a uterus, then it's even more abused, because they can't control the energy, the battery in the uterus. That is a portal that is beyond man's control. That's why they're so angry, jealous, because God gave it to them. Even God gave it to women, even though man was created in his image. So how dare, because Adam agreed to break his covenant with God behind the desires that he had for Eve. He knew better and did it because he wanted to appease Eve. If he really loved her, he would have told her, bitch, put it down. Matter of fact, let's go get you cleaned up from God. God himself tell us what to do to clean you up, because that's not what you were supposed to do. But he let his desire overtake it. You think that had to do with creating children and being fruitful? And I mean that in the biological sense. I think God created his children. They were not physically children, but they were children. And someone came and perversely sexualized them and made them aware of a reality that wasn't God's. God created all things, so this reality exists because there's a layering to everything. Everything has 4 meanings. Everything. If it has one, that's a lie. You don't know the rest of them. So again, do you feel like you gain this knowledge and this wisdom and suddenly you're in another realm of understanding and being a human? Or were you used? And you're trying to hold on to something that came from that so that it makes sense for you. And now you have all this confusion about what is right and wrong because you're angry about the level of lack of control that is possible, that man hides away to use for those they want to fill out their agenda. Whose agenda are we talking about? Because who gets the benefit of your battery?